My dear viewers, I am Father Patrick Wachira from Our Lady of the Farmers Wamagana Parish. And today, I would like us to talk about this global phenomena of unemployment, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. I think you know that in rich countries like the United States, they have laid people down because of this pandemic. In fact, we are told that 3 million workers in the United States don't have their jobs. In Kenya, it is also very serious. 300,000 people are no longer in their jobs. So it is now quite obvious that many people are at home having lost their jobs. And maybe you and I are some of those people. What do we do? How can we assist each other through communication and through offering words of consolation? You know, loss of a job causes significant emotional distress. Becoming jobless in an international crisis like this one adds distress to distress. And especially when we consider that to lose a job is like losing someone that you love. Some people love their jobs so much, and they are dedicated to their jobs in a very big way. When they lose their jobs, when this loss of job occurs, they experience grief. And as usual, in grief, the first thing or the first stage you encounter is shock. And that is why it is very, very important during this time to protect our mental health so that we may not be adversely affected. So you get a shock because you know the consequences of losing your job. First of all, there is no longer any income to look at. So you lack other alternative jobs. You start blaming yourself. You know that they are accelerating debts. Maybe you don't have means to meet your bills and even rent. You face psychological torture by the demands from your kids. They might not understand what is happening, and even sometimes from our married partners, our wives and our husbands. And this leads a lot to what we know as loss of self-esteem. And even you face rejection from friends, and especially among men. Women are good in assisting one another in problems. But men, even if you are drinking together or having fun together, when you are in trouble or when you are unemployed, they don't know how to deal with that, even in their small groups. So, the normal stresses of unemployment and, of course, the financial hardships that come with this gives us a sense of loss of purpose in our life. Now, what do you do, or what can I do, or what kind of advice can I give you? Now, the first point is don't be harsh on yourself. Be positively kind to yourself. The loss of job can happen to anyone, even in normal circumstances, and it is not the end of the world. Know and convince yourself that you are not a failure. This is the second point. You didn't lose the job because you are bad, or because you are a non-performer, or because you are incompetent. This is a pandemic, and these are the consequences to everybody. I have told you that not only in this country, but even in developed countries, they are facing this challenge. Number 3, convince yourself that you have lost your job, but the job is not important than you. It is not the sum of what you are. You have other gifts. You have skills, you have values, you have attributes that go beyond your employment. Number 4, don't blame people around you. Don't conclude bad things about yourself. Know that this is a crisis, and crisis that will not last forever. Remind yourself that COVID-19 will come to an end, and one day you will walk holding your head high. The job loss is not permanent. Even the COVID-19 situation will improve over time. It is not permanent. Number 5, don't be confused by the know-it-all, especially in the social media, and especially the prophets of doom, who might like to show through their message that this is your end. And then connect with the family, connect with the friends and fellow professionals. Don't be afraid to tell them about your situation, especially those whom you know can help. Ask them for advice, and even ask them whether they have some connections where you could get something to do. Do not isolate yourself, and avoid what we call pity parties, where you meet with some other people and then you start singing and lamenting about your predicament. Let's be brave, because we know with God everything works for the better. Number 6, if you find some places where you can get financial counseling, maybe online, by online leading, or seminars that are called for that maybe are free and maybe with a little bit of expenses even, just go and visit them. It will make you busy, and you might gain some new insights. Number 7, maintain a routine at home. Find things that need your attention now that you are at home. There are many things that you may never paid attention to in your house, in your various, in the way your house is kept and things like that. Pay attention to this and join, if you're a family man or a family, if you're a housewife or you are a family woman, pay attention to your home in a more profound way, now that there is a lot of time to do that. Maintain this routine, the time that you wake up, the time that you need to pay attention to some things, put them in a kind of a routine. And let us share these routines with the members of the family, so that we may all be preoccupied, because we don't want to be the devil's workshop. Number 9, discover new talents. There are very many hobbies. There are some people who are married and have never been together learning or jogging or something like that. Let us do these things together. And even if you are single and you are alone, try to have more time for the exercises and sports and things like that, if this is possible. And you'll find that you are also changing. The last point, number 10, clear your mind from gloomy and dismal news in the radio and the TV and in the media in general. Turning off the TV for some times and not thinking about the pandemic can be a great way to alleviate anxiety and to have a chance of just reflecting not on what is happening outside, but also on your own predicament as a human being. Remember that you are not a morgue attendant to be counting the dead every day. So sometimes some families, I know a family that has taken off from watching TV, not all the time, but some of the time. They say, today we are just going to sit, talk, enjoy the company of one another, and leave the TV alone. Because the more we accumulate this depressing news, the more we accumulate these deaths and recoveries and even those who are infected, the more anxious we become. It is good to know what is happening, but it's not always, don't make it a career of knowing every other time. There are other things to read, there are other news to watch, there are other programs in the TV to see. So let us be very, very careful about this, especially with our children, so that we don't instill fear in ourselves and in the others. And with this, I hope that you, as my dear listener, you'll be helped to cope. Remember that we are all in this, but God will do us a lot of good. He is the one who has the plan of what shall happen to us and what we shall be in the future, and when He'll get rid for us this pandemic that has distressed us so much, and especially those who have lost their jobs. May God bless you and trust in His care and goodness. Thank you so much.